A pivotal date. The claims of November 22nd, 2025. Today is November 2nd, 2025, and a significant date is approaching for the Pi network community. Many reports and discussions within the ecosystem point to November 22nd, 2025 as a day of major transformation. This is the date when two critical events are said to converge, potentially changing how Pi operates and interacts with the global financial system. The primary claims suggest that this is when Pi network will fully activate its Global Consensus Value (GCV) pricing model. At the same time, it is reported that the network will complete its integration with the ISO 2022 financial messaging standard, aligning it with the world's largest banking institutions on their final day of migration. This date, November 22nd, 2025, has become a focal point for pioneers, the name given to users of the Pi network. The anticipation is built on the idea that these changes will move Pi from its current enclosed mainnet phase into a more open and functional cryptocurrency. The promise is that Pi will become a tool capable of seamless integration with traditional finance, making it a usable currency for everyday transactions and cross-border payments. The claims are bold. Section 2. Understanding GCV. A new model for value. At the heart of the November 22nd claims is the concept of GCV, which stands for Global Consensus Value. This is not a market price determined by trading on public exchanges, but rather a value agreed upon by the community within the Pi ecosystem. The idea behind GCV is to establish a stable and substantial price for Pi from the outset, avoiding the wild volatility often seen with other cryptocurrencies. Supporters of this model believe it creates a foundation of trust and stability, allowing Pi to function more like a currency and less like a speculative asset. The GCV is intended to reflect a shared belief in Pi's long-term utility and potential. The most cited GCV figure is 1 Pi equals $314,159, a number that mirrors the mathematical constant Pi, 3.14159. This specific value is seen by many within the community as a symbolic and ambitious target for the currency's worth. According to some reports, this rate is not just a hopeful number, but is being supported by data from multiple blockchain feeds within the Pi testnet environment. These reports claim the system is being prepared to operate with this value as a baseline for transactions within its decentralized applications and marketplaces. Section 3. The ISO 2022 connection, a bridge to traditional banking. Another cornerstone of the NOV22 event claim. Pi network will complete integration with ISO 2022. This may sound technical, but its implications are simple and profound. ISO 2022 is a global standard for financial messaging. Think of it as a common language that allows different financial institutions, banks, payment processors to communicate clearly and efficiently. When they send payment information, the standard ensures the data is rich, structured, universally understood. That reduces errors, improves transparency, enables more complex, automated financial services. It's the future of global banking communication. NOV22, 2025, the deadline for the global banking industry's migration to this standard. Guided by SWIFT, the world's primary financial messaging network. The narrative around Pi network's financial integration gains more specific detail with claims of partnerships with several major African banks. Reports circulating within the community frequently name prominent institutions such as Ecobank, Access Bank, GT Bank, Fidelity Bank, Zenith Bank, UBA First Bank. These banks are leaders in the Pan-African financial landscape, serving millions of customers across the continent. The suggestion is that these institutions will be among the first to connect to the Pi blockchain, allowing pioneers in the region to directly interact with their bank accounts through the Pi ecosystem. This would be a monumental step for financial inclusion and crypto adoption. The logic behind these claims is that once Pi is ISO 2022 compliant, these banks would have a standardized and regulated pathway to integrate Pi services. However, it is critically important to distinguish between community reports and verified facts. As of today, independent searches for official announcements, press releases, or partnership agreements between Pi Network and these named banks have not yielded concrete evidence. Some of the banks, like EcoBank, have announced major digital transformation partnerships with tech giants like Google Cloud. But these announcements do not mention Pi Network or any other cryptocurrency project. Flowing directly from the claims of banking integration is another powerful assertion that pioneers will be able to withdraw up to $10,000 per day. This specific figure has captured the imagination of many users, as it implies a high level of liquidity and trust from financial partners. If true, it would mean that a pioneer could convert a significant amount of Pi into their local fiat currency on a daily basis, effectively turning their mined coins into a substantial source of income or capital. This claim is often presented as a direct benefit of the GCV and the ISO 2022 integration, suggesting that the system will be robust enough to handle large transaction volumes. The practical meaning of a $10,000 daily withdrawal limit would be transformative for many users. However, like the bank partnerships, this claim requires careful examination. These include the policies of the specific bank or exchange processing the transaction, national regulations concerning capital flows and anti-money laundering, and the user's own identity verification. Know your customer status. A blanket promise of a $10,000 daily limit for all users globally seems unlikely, as different countries and institutions have vastly different rules. Without this liquidity, the ability to sell Pi for fiat currency would be limited, regardless of any stated withdrawal cap. Beyond the financial claims, the November 22nd narrative is also supported by reports on Pi Network's technical progress and alleged endorsements. On the technical side, the project is said to be in the final stages of preparing a decentralized exchange DEX. A DEX would allow for peer-to-peer trading of Pi and other assets without a central intermediary. Reports say DEX activation is imminent, with one final step remaining: the completion of a multi-sig confirmation process. Multi-sig or multi-signature requires multiple approvals for a transaction, enhancing the DEX's security. Some sources claim 3 separate blockchain data feeds produced nearly identical results, validating the GCV rate of $314,159. This is used as evidence the network's internal mechanics are ready to support that valuation. As we look toward November 22, 2025, it is clear that this date represents a potential turning point for Pi Network. The convergence of GCV activation, ISO 2022 compliance, and alleged bank partnerships paints a picture of a project on the cusp of a major breakthrough. It would mark a shift from a closed, experimental network to an open, functional economy, potentially bringing tangible financial benefits to millions of its loyal pioneers around the world. The significance lies in its attempt to bridge the gap between decentralized ideals and regulated reality. However, the path forward is paved with significant risks and open questions that must be addressed. The most immediate risk is the gap between community reports and verified evidence. The claims of specific bank partnerships and a $10,000 daily withdrawal limit are not yet substantiated by public announcements from those institutions. Furthermore, the high GCV of $314,159 faces the immense challenge of achieving real-world market liquidity. Regulatory hurdles in different countries could also complicate or block the planned integrations. Finally, the technical challenge of securely launching a DEX and integrating with legacy banking systems is substantial and requires flawless execution. In summary, the claims surrounding November 22nd outline a revolutionary vision for Pi Network. The idea of a globally distributed cryptocurrency, valued by community consensus and fully integrated with the international banking system via ISO 2022, is undeniably powerful. Whether this marks the beginning of a financial revolution or another chapter in a long development journey, the world is watching.